have it if we're not doing your bidding rights.
Some of us watch on TV.
But come here, I'm not gonna know your thoughts on TV.
You're right, good point.
Hi, my name is Nancy Philpot. I live in the 4th Ward, and I just have a couple questions about
Sure.
the bill also. One, is there a difference between a condemnation process and an eminent domain process? Mr. Ratcher, is that something you could help us
There
with?
is no difference.
Exactly.
Condemnation is the vehicle by which eminent domain powers are exercised.
Okay, so the fact that the ordinance states condemnation, is that not the same as eminent domain then?
It is. It is, like I say, it's how you exercise the power of eminent domain if you're a government entity that has that power.
So as the Turnpike Commission is exercising the condemnation process, does Monroeville have a choice as to whether or not they give up that land?
What the Turnpike does is when they want land from somebody, they go to that person and they try to negotiate without using their condemnation powers because it's costly for everybody involved. If they are not able to make a deal with the property owner to the liking of both parties, both them and the land that they would like to acquire, then they either redesign their project to not use that property or they use their powers of eminent domain.
Okay. So the fact that if we did not negotiate this sale of $900,000 for that property, the state could exercise the condemnation process?
They could indeed,
They
yes.
could?
Yes,
I'm
they
not
could.
saying they would, but they could.
Yeah, no, they could. Or they could decide, you know what, we're going to reconfigure it, we're going to go the other way, we're going to do this,
And if they
whatever.
did exercise the condemnation, would Monroeville, in your opinion, get $900,000 for the property?
I probably am not qualified to say that. There would be some value, there would be something.
Some value,
they
but
would owe.
probably not that much, huh?
That value would be determined by a group called the Board of Viewers, which is a government body that reviews, they get appraisals, they listen to the arguments, and then they say, okay, this property's worth this amount of money.
So the fact that the council has considered the Turnpike's offer of $900,000 is actually the council making lemonade out of lemons? I think it's, you're either going to lose it at a low value or you're going to sell it at a better value.
Well, that's a possibility. That's the reality of the situation.
I just want to say, I know that you're really getting bashed on keep Bel Air, keep Bel Air, and I understand wanting to have a pool. I really, really do. But I also know that when you're dealing with a government entity such as the Turnpike, you don't have a lot of options. And the fact that you're actually getting that much money for that property, I think it's...
Nancy, if I can add to what you're saying, and Kelly, where's Kelly? And Kelly wanted to deal in facts, which is true. We have to deal in facts. And what Nancy is laying out here is basically some of the facts. All right. We have
facts in my class. I get it. I totally do. That's why I didn't say you have to save the pool. All I said is that we should all be informed and honest with each other.
and totally agree with that. Under the Turnpike, we had the opportunity to have a second evaluation on the property, and we took advantage of that, and the Turnpike paid for it. And the second evaluation was much, much, much lower.
So, so from that point of
So-
view, I think in the request for transparency, I think that would probably be saving you some grief right now if it was a little bit more transparent. But I also have some other questions.
Sure.
How long before, once the ordinance is approved to sell the pool, how long before the closing process? How long before you close and actually get the money?
Nancy, from September the 2nd, if the ordinance is passed this evening, from September the 2nd, we have 90 days to close on it.
90 days to close from September the 2nd. So we're talking at least, 4 or 5, almost 6 months out there to decide what to do with $900,000. I can appreciate why you can't say yes or no to a separate fund because, I don't think any of you have a crystal ball. So I trust that if it goes into the general fund, it will still be spent appropriately down the road.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I trust that.
Thank you.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Mayor, I have a question for Mr.
Sure.
Hatcher. Bob, if there's no eminent domain, which I've just been told, correct?
I don't think we know if there's going to be any eminent domain.
I understand.
I think it's assumed whenever the turnpike goes to acquire property or, any government body that has that power, the implication always is if they want it for a particular purpose. And you're not able to make a deal with them to sell it in an arm's length transaction, that they might use the eminent domain process to acquire it. I don't know that that's an absolute. That it's not gotten that far because, as I explained to the last speaker, the first thing that the turnpike tries to do is negotiate a sale price if they want the land, not use the eminent domain process.
Yes.
So the only question is.
However, the option is available to them
It is, yeah,
Yes.
it is.
as far as this ordinance goes.
Well, it's available to them just generally. I mean,
Right,
if,
right.
if you all decide tonight, no, we're not going to do this, we're not going to sell it, then the only question is, what's the turnpike's next move?
Right, right,
That's what it comes down to.
right. And they're sort of in the, they have a problem with expanding their turnpike from Monroeville to
Irwin.
Irwin.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to, if they're not going to use that property, they have to find other property to make the design work.
Right,
And we have no idea what they're doing with other property owners along that corridor, whether or not,
right, right.
they're negotiating
Right.
with them or not.
But for all intents and purposes, they need that property in order to improve the turnpike.
They need property, obviously, to widen the turnpike. They don't have enough right of way. So
Right.
they do need property. Whether they need that property or not is another matter. They probably do.
And how much of it do they need?
Yeah.
Right, right. So, but bottom line is, if we say no, they could come in with the condemnation portion of their rights
Yes, yes.
as a
they-
government agency.
Correct. Correct.
And just say, okay, folks, we're taking it anyway.
Yes.
So, okay. So did everybody hear that?
What's the time frame on that?
Well, the time frame is, I don't know, like, what is the time frame? Good question.
I don't think any of us know their time frame. I would
And
think
at
it's
this-
probably in the next couple of years.
Right.
And if I'm hearing correctly, they're not even asking for eminent domain, they're asking for a sale of property. So at that point, they're not even saying, we're going to take it. We're
Right.
looking for property
Right.
to buy.
Exactly.
Excuse me, can you give
You're
me the name?
absolutely
I'm sorry,
right.
I was
That-
just,
I know.
Samantha
I'm sorry.
Estramera, sorry.
Thank you.
I was
She's
just
typing like this.
I'm sorry,
I don't know
Samantha
who she is.
Estramera.
I'm sorry.
Estramera, Samantha?
And you
You're-
are.
you're
Monroeville
absolutely
resident.
Did you
Right.
write your name on the, thank you very much.
I'm
You're
sorry.
absolutely right. However, if we choose not to sell it to them, they have that option.
They have that option, right. And I understand that, but what I'm saying is they haven't even approached that they are pushing to go that route. They're
Well, if
looking
they
for
ask you to
property.
sell, they are looking
They're
down that
looking
route.
for property.
Right,
Yes, and they're
right,
looking
right.
down that
They're
road.
looking to
And
buy
we
that
have to
property.
decide if we want to make money for the municipality off of it, or maybe not.
But is it to make money? We're not selling to make money, because then that means we are going out of the pool business from what we've been hearing out here. That's not the point
Well,
of the
there's still
sale.
4 pools in Monroeville.
They're private. They're not good for the lower socioeconomic people out there. They are not, they're private. They have to get a membership to go. They do not have access to those pools unless they purchase the memberships. Bel Air, you can go on a day-to-day basis. Anyone in the community can go. There is a difference.
I
And
have
on-
something to say to that, but Mr. Harvey, you wanted to say something.
Ever since the Turnpike expansion project started, the Turnpike has invited elected officials to come to periodic meetings, and they're typically at the council chambers in Plum. And when we get there, I've attended every one of them. And when we get there, they have giant boards up that are aerial photographs of the Turnpike with certain colored lines on them showing you what they plan on doing. One of the reasons why I was consistently going there, besides it coming through Monroeville, is a lot of it comes through my ward. And for example, the Center Road Bridge,
the Beatty Road Bridge by the campus, and the old William Penn Bridge are all gone. They're all getting replaced, and, it's going to cause some inconveniences. Anyways, moving down the line, I can tell you, in speaking with honesty, is that they hadn't had a direct route up until recently after our interchange, because they're coming from
took
the
it off.
west. Yes. So once they got, I apologize, the bridge that's on Northern Pike that goes to number 4 Fire Company, that's how I relate to it, that's going too. And that's about where they stopped. I think they're even taking
They're
some
taking,
of number 4's
taking side of
property.
the fire station the whole way up to it and part
And
of that property.
right about there is where it stopped, and I haven't had any discussion with the Turnpike until this started, and I really haven't talked to the Turnpike, they talked to us. And as the solicitor said, I think they were just making an offer rather than slapping eminent domain rights
Right,
down
they're
on
making
us.
an offer, they're looking for property, they're looking to weigh options that they have.
Right.
So for us to not table this and see what options are out there or what benefits Monroeville the best, I believe, is what we're concerned about. Yes, we'd love to save Bel Air, but that's not always an option, and we understand that. The reason I came up here is for 2 reasons. One, and this could have been mentioned in the past, I'm not sure, I haven't heard all the meetings on this, but what is the money in Bel Air's account that the municipality has? Is it a surplus? Is there money there already? Are we losing money every year?
It's pretty much
Break
break
even to
even,
lose.
pretty much
Okay,
break
so
even,
we're
but maybe a
breaking
little
even.
loss.
No, breaking even, and some years we lose.
Yes.
Okay,
We-
so let's
there's
just
no
say, we're not at a deficit at this pool.
No, I think
And
that's
if we
fair.
did work at building the pool up, we could break even or have a surplus, correct?
Everything's
Because,
possible.
truly, in the past years, I've been the swim team coach at Bel Air for 5 years now. My children and I have been attending the pool for 15, myself, 13, 14, 15 years with my children. And I just know that over the years, it has gotten better. And that many years ago, they talked about closing it because there was no money for it, but they got funding. And the funding then supported the growth of that pool, and the numbers have increased. The people have increased coming. The daycares are bringing their kids on bus loads to have places to bring in the children that can then swim as well. I'm there every day. Not every day, but feels like every day. But I am there, and I do know that it is an asset to have in your community a place for kids to go to be together, to socialize, not on internet, not on their phones, not on their devices, but interacting. There's a basketball court there that they can play on, a playground that they are there. It's a party room that people have parties at. It's a swim team. It is also not just a swim team that you have kindergarten kids, actually we'll go down to 3-year-olds because there have been 3-year-olds on my team, all the way up to 18 that are family oriented, that are learning life skills that we're going to take this pool out and not think about the possibility of putting another one in or making one of the private pools, buying them and saying, hey, let's make this the public pool.
Well,
Well, that's how it started.
I
That
presented
is
that
helpful.
idea
Yes.
of taking a sizable chunk of that money and giving grants to the community pools as long as they opened it to the public.
To the public. It
Yes.
has to go to the public
But-
because being private, you're not meeting all the.
So there was a
That's
condition to
been
that
an
grant
idea.
money.
That's been tossed around between the council members.
So we have been thinking about.
That's
I mean,
one of my
I'm
concerns
talking about like
because I have children here and
$20,000,
I just feel that
$30,000 a
Monroeville
pool.
has not always met reached out to the families that have kids with sports and stuff. It sort of is not like other communities around. And people are going to start seeing that and move other places with their
Well,
families.
we send out brochures every season
I get
with
them.
programming.
I get them, but what I'm saying is it's limited in a sense. Some stuff is limited, and not everybody is out there doing it. And if you take the pool away where there are people, or it's like taking the park away, the baseball fields away, or the basketball fields that are still not completed up at the park. There's all these things that, cause, yes, we need money for it, but selling and then thinking we'll just put it in the general fund and not even think about giving back to that spot in the community, that needed area, is concerning.
to let you know, I mean, this isn't like the first time we thought of this, okay?
No,
And-
I agree. Like I said, I've not
And then
been
on top of that
everywhere.
agenda is the people that come up to you and say, you need to use that for some of the capital projects and the infrastructure to get
Oh,
this stuff
sure.
done.
Apologize.
So trying to accomplish everything,
I understand.
because I don't think there's anybody that sits up here against.
No, and we just need to
No.
have it known that our voice is out there and heard, and that we are being, heard and
Right.
things being
So-
done about stuff.
I was going to wait, and Mr. Harvey, may I?
Sure.
Nick Griesok, our mayor, has sent an email out just here to, and I guess it's out there, to some of the private pools. What we want to do is, what he'd like to do is get couple council and the mayor and myself to sit down and talk to the pools to see if they would be willing to open it up to day passes, as well as just the season. And we would be willing to give some money, funding, and probably do it on a consistent basis. But this is so preliminary.
Well,
Now,
it's
for the
preliminary
swim,
because it's not even sold yet.
well, that's
Thank
right.
you.
No, and I
You're
understand
right,
that.
right.
I'm not asking where the money goes. I just am saying that if you're thinking about that sale, the option for the land is they want land. Is it really specifically this land?
Yes.
Well,
Well,
apparently it is.
Apparently
if they
it
don't
is.
get it,
They
could
didn't
there
give
be
us like an
another
A, B,
choice?
and C.
No, they're not
You
going to
know,
give you an A, B,
Right.
and C.
So
They're going
you're
to give you
asking
the
is,
first option
I'm
that
just
they
telling
want.
you that,
I
that was the
understand.
option taken.
And then let me finish for the swim teams, like for the Marlins and all that. The JCC, as you know, our Jewish Community Park here in my ward, the 5th Ward, they've been talking to us for the last couple of years and would like us to work with them, and they wanted to open it up. Now, obviously, it wouldn't work the way they would like to see it work, because we can only take the pool from 4 o'clock on. But my understanding is sometimes in the evenings, more times than not, that the swim teams do swim in the evening. If we could work that out with them, that's an Olympic-sized pool, there'd be no issue with that.
But is it going to be open to the community?
Yeah, that's what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
At
that's
the
what-
price that
that's the
JCC is right now?
Well-
I mean, I've looked into JCC myself. I've looked into all the private pools. Personally, I like Bel Air the best.
Well,
That's why I'm there,
we're
but-
getting back to, we're going to give the pool some funding. Well, that was the plan.
Well, the bottom line is, just like we all said, this is such at the beginning stage. We have choices, and this council has to make that choice. They can agree with this ordinance, or they don't. If we don't, we stand a chance of losing it, and there'll be either no money or much less money. So this is something that they need to think about. This is something they will vote on either way.
You as well, sir.
Mayor, I have a
Sir.
question
Sure.
for Mr. Little. Tim, let's say, for example, they don't take that property for an additional year, for another year. Okay? And will Bel Air be available if they don't take that property? Will we be able to keep Bel Air afloat if they don't take that property during that period of time?
Did we not ask for an extra year, Mr. Little, and they
I thought
denied
we
us?
did, yeah.
We did ask for more time,
turned
and they
us down.
denied us.
They gave us this year.
Yes.
They wouldn't
Yeah,
give
To
us.
give us some time to try to figure out if we were going to do it, what we were going to do, to try to give the public some options, let them know it was going to come, for us to decide what we could do to help the
Well,
public.
Tim has an
with
answer
this.
for us here.
It
Well, no,
was-
that is, I
they
mean, we
said no.
did. I mean, what the public doesn't understand is this council has been dealing and contemplating this whole decision for a year. And nothing has come forth to the public as of yet because there were certain issues, and one of the issues that we're talking about right now, about how much longer do we want to keep the Bel Air pool open? Do we want to sell the property? There's a trail that comes down. We have a trail easement that's going across it that will connect, coming down from Heritage Park down to the Westmoreland Heritage Trail.
That had to be
And
looked
all of
at.
those things, when you're dealing with an entity like the Turnpike Commission, they take time. So one of the questions, as Mrs. Gatos just mentioned, is would we have another year other than this year? And the answer to that was no. So that answers your question, Mr. Wilson.
They were giving us the property for the trail though, correct?
Yes.
Yes, we did get that. And that's been part of this process.
Well, that's, basically, I just wanted to indicate about the community and how it does pull in. So if you're considering the sale and it does happen, please propose, put it out there that it is something that would benefit the community to continue to have a pool somewhere here that is community operated.
Right.
Well, and I would like all the other pools to open up their minds to considering, if this does happen again, I'll say it from this side, if we decide to sell that pool, the other pools will consider opening up their doors and memberships to the residents and not stay private.
But a lot needs to be considered at that point as well.
There's a lot to be considered on both sides and all the way around.
Thank you.
Thank you.